Interesting. So we had another response from Harry. He says the reason why I asked is that conservative black men are considered coons by a
Mm.
lot of liberal black women. So that may be where the disharmony lies. Isn't that the problem, though, Harry? We talk about that a lot, and I'm glad you brought it up. And I'm kind of showing my cards about how I really feel about this topic, and I try to hold that off until the end of the podcast. But I say all the time, especially with the black community, we need to ask ourselves: do we want to be ran by studs and thugs, or do we want to be ran by scholars and squares, like every other functioning community in the world? We're the only community predominantly that looks up to people who have very low values. And if we have a larger amount of liberal women in our community that are looking over these conservative scholars and squares, how can we sustain that? And then that same culture begins to bleed into the church, where you have the guy who's doing pipe and drape and who's at the church, cleaning the floors and picking up chairs and things like that. He's being totally ignored by the church valedictorian. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. If that's the way it's supposed to be, fine. I'm cool with that too. But that's not how it was 40, 50, 60 years ago. Women got with men that were average, and men got with women that were average too. But now we have a lot of average women who want the top 5 to 10% of men, even in church. I was doing a podcast with the Nation of Islam. Don't ask me how I got in there. And we were talking about relationships. And I'm thinking to myself, surely this isn't a problem in the mosque. And to my surprise, they were having the same issues. Black community, religious environment. But the women in the mosque were all going for the top 10% of men. They said they wanted to go after the Idris Albas. And that's when this thing kind of keyed in my mind. We have a problem as a culture in America where our women are looking for something completely different in men than what they're able to provide in some cases, especially in a spiritual, more specifically a Christian environment. Anybody got any thoughts on that?